Hey guys, welcome back. This is History of Power Rangers Season 3, Episode 41 of my show. But this is about Episode 6 of Season 3. Now, I say that because I say it's about Episode 6 because I kind of had a little minor mix-up with the video I did previously. That I said that one was episode 6, but it wasn't. It was episode 5. But by the time I realized that I got the episode number mixed up when I did the description, it was too late for me to fix it. So this is the actual video for episode 6. The previous one I did was about episode 5. I just wanted to get that out of the way. Anyway, getting back into it, this is History of Power Rangers Season 3, Episode 41 of my show, but this is about Episode 6 of Season 3. Now, Episode 6 in Season 3 is known as What Are You Thinking? Now, basically, the reason... Now, this episode actually starts a segment of episodes that's gonna remain for the rest of this season, where this segment of the third season where the rest of the Rangers are, aside from Billy, are going on the Zeo Crystal quest to basically regain their powers. So basically the way this episode starts off is the Alien Rangers are basically going with the Kid Rangers at this point to the coordinates, well, aside from Billy, because as I said, by this point he's turned back into his human form, into his normal age before the time reversal. Anyway, and after Zordon and Alpha open the vortex for the portal, the Alien Rangers managed to send each of the Young Rangers through their segments of the portal, through the portal to their segment in time where the Zeo Crystal, their fragments of the Zeo Crystals are, and then basically, after that, what basically happens is, Zed and Rita see that the rest of the Rangers are going to recover their pieces of the Zeo Crystal, so with them gone and occupied, they figured that now is a good time for them to destroy the Alien Rangers in order to get rid of them. And then Zed, because that's what Rita tells Zed, is because of that, and then Zed says that he agrees, but they don't want to use any of Finster's inferior monsters, so he called on an old friend of his, which is a monster called Witchblade, which is basically, I don't know, I can't it's not that I can't remember, I'm having a little bit of trouble. I think, if I remember correctly, the Witchblade monster is basically a sort of monster that they don't need to create because it's already available and stuff. But anyway, what basically happens is after that, now I'm sorry I skipped ahead there with that part, but I figured it was relevant because of the fact that the Rangers were going to be going on their quest to get their fragments of the Zeo Crystal. Now, I'm just going to explain about that. In this episode, only one of them is going to get their fragment of the Zeo Crystal because, this is about episode 6. So the only Ranger that's going to get the fragment of the Zeo Crystal that is in this episode, is Rocky, and then basically, the next one will be Adam, and then in episode 8, it'll be Tommy and Catherine. I just wanted to get that part out of the way there. But anyway, getting back into it, what happens is the segment in the past where Rocky ends up is in Mexico, which is where, and then he meets this boy in this portion of the episode, and he tells the boy that he's looking for this crystal, and then the boy mentions that he only knows of one crystal, which is the crystal of the volcano, which is the volcano where that exists in his village, basically. And then what happens is Rocky tells the boy that he needs to retrieve the crystal to complete his quest, and then the boy mentions that he will take him there, but he can't take them too far because his father doesn't want him to go too close to the volcano for fear that it might erupt and stuff. And then basically what happens now, I'm just gonna get back into it because with the Alien Rangers, because basically what happened was while Rocky and the other 5 of the 6 Rangers, because aside from Billy at this point, aside from Billy, you see, what happened was, while the Young Rangers were way in the different time periods, the Alien Rangers were still on their world, and Sestro was needing water to rehydrate, so the Alien Rangers go to this aquarium and to basically have them communicate with the fish telepathically in order to find a close source of water. And now I'm just gonna mention something with Bulk and Skull, because basically what happens is, in Bulk and Skull's case, first what happens for them is they were at school and they were talking about them, and then the teacher wondered what they were talking about, and they mentioned about the Alien Rangers, and then basically the young version of Hulk mentioned that it's about a school project, and they're going to the aquarium after school to work on the project, and then that's when they meet up with the Alien Rangers in the aquarium, and then they say that they were just talking about them, and then basically Billy tells them that Rangers are busy, they don't have time to deal with them, and then basically Bulk says that it's the same guy from the water park, and then he wonders what they why should they have to listen to him? And then basically Sestro says that he had to go to find the source of water that the fish mentioned before it's too late. So he basically morphs to his ranger form, and then he goes through the desert, and he said that it was lucky that they were able to find fish species for them to communicate with, because what the Earth Rangers were worried about was if they could communicate with the fish on Earth, but it seems like they could because of the fact that they are able to communicate with all kinds of underwater species, which makes sense because they're from a world that isn't entirely encased in water, so technically it just makes sense. And then basically, while Sestro is looking for the water source, what basically happens is that's when the Witchblade monster has begun following him at this point, and then basically that's when he starts to realize that he may be the only one here, but he senses he's not alone, and then that's when the Witchblade monster shows up and attacks him. And then now I'm gonna get back into the segment with Rocky, because basically by this point, the boy manages to take Rocky to the volcano, but he can't take him any further to it because Emily doesn't want him to get any closer to the volcano for fear that it might erupt. So basically what happens is that the last part of that segment what I'm going to talk about, because the ending segment of this episode has to do with him retrieving his fragment of the Zeo Crystal and then returning, which I'll explain afterward. But I just wanted to backtrack. I just wanted to get to that part before I finished with this segment. Setro continues fighting the Witchblade monster, and then basically, the other Hylian Rangers go to help him, and then basically, that's when, basically that's, when Zed and Rita basically make the Witchblade monster grow. And then the Alien Rangers call on their battle Borgs in order to deal with the Witchblade monster, and then after that what happens is they manage to defeat it, and then basically Zed and Rita sort of get upset that their monster was destroyed. Now I'm gonna get back into the segment with Rocky, because basically, as I stated in his segment for this portion of the episode, he's already in the volcano and he's trying to reach where the crystal is, and he manages to grab it. And because of his connection to the Zeo Crystal, it allows him to temporarily teleport out of the volcano, which then stops it from being unstable. And then the boy that led him to the crystal is mentioning that Rocky did it. The crystal was making the volcano unstable, which was why it was so dangerous. And then Rocky says that he's happy that the village is safe, and then he tells the boy that he doesn't even know his name, and then basically the boy says that his name's Pablo, and then that's when Rocky realizes that his grandfather is named Pablo as well. So the boy wonders that maybe they're related, which is technically true because Rocky's in the past, so it's sort of not that he doesn't realize that the person that he's talking to is technically the younger version of his grandfather, which is technically, it makes sense but it makes sense that he doesn't, that the boy doesn't realize that they are actually related, but in Rocky's time that they are, that he's Rocky's grandfather, and then basically, it, because of the time thing, and then basically, that's when Paulo's father manages to call him over, and then Rocky leaves, and then after he leaves, Paulo's wondering where he went, and then basically Rocky manages to get back to the Alien Rangers in the command center with his fragment of the Zeo Crystal, and then he places it in the centerpiece, and then after he places it in there, Rocky tells Delphine that she was right, and then Delphine says that a journey into their past will always yield good intentions for their future, and then for the future, and where he learns more about himself, and then that's basically where this episode stops. So if you guys like this video when I post it, just please give this video the real best you guys can, and I will see you guys next time for the next Power Rangers video. So, but until then, guys, like I always tell you with this series, may the power protect you always.